Hello and welcome back to Starting Point, still the greatest point in which you start your day. Today, it's World Ballet Day, Rahmat, and we are so excited because we are going to have a conversation with two professional ballerinas, the first in Starting Point.
Wow.
And I mean, honestly, for me, I'm really intrigued in the craftsmanship of ballet. We spoke before about how you also really appreciate the art. So why don't we greet our guests today?
On that note, how's your ballet? How's your ballet, Audrey?
How's my ballet?
How's your ballet? Yeah, as you said, we cannot be more excited to talk to our special guest today in the program. This is World Ballet Day today, and we are giving shout outs to all of the ballerinas out there, male and female. They are amazing. And we are truly blessed today to have two of them joining us in conversations in Starting Point today. We have in the studio founder and artistic director of the Ballet Academy of Indonesia, Anindya Krisna. Anindya, thank you for joining us this morning here in the studio. And also next to her is the beautiful princess coming of age, only 14 years old that we've informed, Keisha, our ballerina today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, thank you. You look lovely this morning for joining us. Let's start off with Nindya first. You founded the Ballet Academy of Indonesia. How did that come to be? How do you see the prospects of ballet in our country that inspired you to form this academy?
Well, of course, I started as a student, and I started ballet pretty late, actually, when I was her age. So when I was her age, I didn't know anything. I started
So you
from
started
zero.
at 14?
At 14.
What age did you start, Keisha?
3.5 years
Oh,
old.
goodness, 3.5.
This is actually the ideal age to start ballet. The earlier, the better.
Oh, I see.
That's really early.
That's really early, yeah. I think up until 10 years old, it's still a good age to start. But beyond that, it's considered late. And so that was where I was when I started.
You started at 14.
Yeah, I started at 14, and my parents weren't really supportive about it because, you know, like the future of ballet in Indonesia especially was not really promising. But somehow I managed to push through, and eventually I got my training in the United States and then in Russia, and then eventually I danced professionally in the Philippines. And then after that, I founded the Ballet Academy of Indonesia because I wanted to, you know, to give that kind of training that I got in the professional schools in Indonesia.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said you started a bit late. However, your parents were not very approving. What made you interested to start ballet at that time?
I knew ballet since I was little because my sister was taking ballet, but she was not really talented, and so
Compared to you right now, you would say.
yes, and my
I hope
parents.
she's not watching.
She knows she's not talented.
Sounds
So yeah, she stopped somewhere in the middle, and my parents said, you know, like it's a waste of time. Why don't we just focus on school? You know, because that's more promising in Indonesia. Like there's no such thing as, you know, a ballerina profession. Up until now, we still don't have professional ballet company in Indonesia. So I was doing something pretty risky back then, but I was just like really convinced, you know, that if I choose this and if I work really hard, I'm gonna get it.
Right. Let's talk about this conviction, India. I'm pretty intrigued as to how you come about and be really passionate in ballet. What aspects of ballet that is truly admiring to your perspective? I mean, it's admirable to all of us, but for you to become a calling for your life.
I think it's just the sheer beauty of ballet, you know, like
The sheer beauty.
yes, the ballerinas dancing on their toes. It's like it's not what you see every day, yeah, and the costumes and all that. It's just very magical. And then I found out about the hard work behind it all, and I was even more in love because I knew that, you know, that kind of beauty was achieved through like so much hard work, so much dedication, and I thought to myself, you know, it really makes sense. It's just like life, you know, like if you want to succeed in something,
The
you
very
have to work
philosophy of life
Yes,
is
exactly.
embodied in ballet.
Exactly, and you know, I just got it back then, and I hope like more people can understand that ballet is not just, you know, something beautiful on the outside. You know, it
Right.
can actually teach you a lot of things, especially to children. It teaches you discipline, right? And you know, like when you really want something, you got to work hard to get it. You know, there's no shortcuts in ballet. I think it's a very good education for children, especially, yeah, to prepare them for real life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So even behind the beauty of ballet, there are still lessons to be learned and morals as well. And now going to Keisha, why did you start ballet in the first place? I mean, you were 3 years old. That is quite, I would say, a really young age.
I wouldn't remember what I was doing at 3 years old, and you've been so inspired.
So basically, my parents enrolled me when I was 3.5. I didn't really fell in love with it until I was like maybe 11. I decided to go full time, and I joined like a lot more classes in Miss Nim's school, and yeah, I fell in love with it more and more every day.
Right. So what's the most personal, challenging experience in becoming a ballerina? Because for us, watching, you know, in the audience, it's beautiful. It's ethereal, for lack of a better word, if we can say it. And it just brings you to this other world with all these magical intricacies in the movements. But behind the scenes, what are some of the most challenging challenges, if I may say, that you've had to overcome to be and to do what you do right now?
The hours of practice and like keeping my motivation up and not giving up.
Not giving up. That is the philosophy of life. You don't give up. But what about getting yourself because as we see it, I mean, I don't know the technical terms of it, but you have to lift your legs straight up, and you have to sort of like bend your bodies in positions that regular people wouldn't imagine, let alone safe to do. So how did you get into those?
I don't know. Like, I'm pretty flexible myself, so like it's not my challenge. Probably turns, it's kind of hard. Doing pirouettes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, turns. Yeah. That's why you have to start very early when it's the most flexible. Your bones are stretchable, if that's the word. So.
I'm all stiff now, Rafa. Can't start being a ballerina now.
Yeah, your stiffness is a common thing for us in the morning, unless you move around a little bit and get more flexible, you know.
And so because of that high craftsmanship of ballet, and not only craftsmanship, but also the sports that it takes for you to be able to
very
do
physical.
ballet.
Basically, an athlete.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
But I think it's a common misconception in society. You know, when they see ballet, they don't really see the athleticism of it. You know, they just see it as, you know,
Like
almost
a
like
dance
modeling.
performance.
Just like making
goodness,
poses, pretty poses. But it's actually not. It's a lot of physical work, and that's what I think we're trying. We want more people to understand that it's hard. You know, it takes effort, it takes intelligence, you know, to understand the technique, you know, to execute it properly. So I think that's what I hope the society will understand more, especially here, because they're not really, you know, they don't really know about ballet in Indonesia, like what goes behind, you know, whereas in more developed countries, things like this are more accessible to the
more
people.
appreciated because they know exactly the
Yeah.
difficulties, all the intricacies, just to get to do ballet properly. And from an amateurish perspective, if I may say, in India and Keisha, probably just like a yoga where you see it's so serene, it's so calm, but holding on to a certain pose alone and not moving takes the power of a might to be able to do that, and let alone to hold on to certain positions in ballet and move and turns and stay balanced and stay elegant at the same time. One of the challenges you mentioned, Keisha, was the many hours you have to go to train. So how many hours do you have to go to train in one day, and how many days a week? And how do you cope with that and school and other things you have to do in your personal time?
I'm homeschooled, so I can do
you're
ballet
homeschooled.
more. I usually do 5 times a week. I mean, like, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I do a few classes a day sometimes, but also sometimes I'll only do one class. It depends on the day.
Depends on the day. It depends on the condition. I tell her not to force herself because, you know, overtraining and injuries, you know,
it's never a good thing.
Yeah, it's never a good thing, and it
But
happens.
approximately how many hours in a day do you have to train?
4 hours a day.
3-4 hours
Yeah,
a
I
day.
think that's
more.
I think it's not good to train more than 4 hours a day intensively. That's what I was told by my teachers.
That's the overtraining, as you mentioned.
Yes, there's a limit to the body.
Wow, 4 hours a day of pure ballet. Is it pure dancing for 4 hours, or is it, let's say, like 1 hour of warming up and then 1 hour of cooling down? How does
It's
Stretching
not like
out,
4 hours
stretching.
moving nonstop. Yeah, like ballet class, you know, you don't really like move all the time. Like the teacher will stop and explain things, and then you start moving again. Like you see this type of class on World Ballet Day. They showcase classes like this done by major ballet companies in the world, how they practice every day. So you can see how a ballet class goes, you know, like from the first exercise to the jumps and to the rehearsal.
Wow.
So that's what happens in professional companies that they are showing on World Ballet Day.
Right. Oh, India, so this is an esteemed World Ballet Day. We're excited for it. We're excited for your performance. But for you personally, who've had to go through all of these journeys to become a ballerina yourself and show your leadership for the Academy, what does it mean, a World Ballet Day, for you personally?
Yeah, World Ballet Day actually started only in 2014. At that time, before that time, we didn't really know how professional dancers work in the company, and I was not dancing professionally yet. So for me, it was really eye-opening. You know, this World Ballet Day is actually, you know, a broadcast of how major ballet companies work. So it's really interesting to see, you know, what they're doing as a professional dancer, doing, you know, ballet every day, get paid to do it every day, to perform every day.
A profession.
Yeah, a profession, because we
Yeah.
don't have it yet here in Indonesia. So that's, I think, what's, how to say, like, memorable about the first World Ballet Day. And then after that, I danced professionally, and I got to feel what it's like, you know, dancing
to
every
live
day.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I lived it. And after that, it's still interesting because you get to see what different companies in the world are working on, you know, what kind of performances they're preparing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. Getting the perspective from Keisha, what does World Ballet Day mean for you, especially now that you've been dancing for 11 years?
And
Yeah.
still so young.
and still so young.
I really like to watch like the professionals out there to see like what it is like out there, because it like give more perspective of the professional world. Because I really want to be like them one day.
Wow, that is quite an aspiration. But I gotta ask you this. I mentioned very briefly in our program, I don't know if you heard me at that time, but I also said to my partner, Audrey, that I have seen the movie Black Swan. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
Because if you have, then
classic,
for us, you know, as a spectator, you get to witness this, as you say, the hardship of being a good ballerina, the competition, at least in those countries, in the US and Russia and other European countries where ballet is a prominent entertainment. But here in Indonesia, what sort of hardship do you have to go through in order to achieve your dream to become a ballerina? I'd like to go to each and every one of you for these questions, especially for you, Keisha, at such a young age where you probably have your own dreams. Maybe, I don't know if ballet is now your dream, but the support from your parents as well, because as you said, you are homeschooled.
I think
Yeah.
what's challenging about entering this industry or this profession is the audition process.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Audition process.
Yes, because you have to audition for everything. If you want to enter professional school, you have to audition. If you want to enter company, you have to audition. So the competition, like
Even
you
for
said,
art universities in our country, they have to audition to become the college students. You
oh
know?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just like that, and because the position, there aren't many positions, so you're like competing with hundreds and hundreds of really good dancers, like the
Oh,
best
wow.
from their schools, the best from their hometown and countries.
Yeah.
So it's like you can imagine the competition. It's really cutthroat.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm preparing my students with. You have to be ready to get rejected, like many times.
So physically,
Yeah.
in terms of talent-wise, and
Mentally.
and
Mentally.
yes,
That's probably the
psychologically
harder
too.
one. Like
That is,
the
yeah.
mental
Yes,
battle. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So-
What about you? How do you overcome all these hardship and challenges, Keisha? Or
It's
has
very
it been all
competitive.
easy
No,
and
no.
smooth sailing?
No, it's very competitive. Like in Indonesia, especially, there are like a few schools that are very like, you know, popular, I guess. And it's very competitive and it's kind of hard. But basically, just don't give up and just like think of the reason why you started at the first place. Yeah.
I think it's important to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you keep looking at other dancers, like you know what strengths they have, like just focus on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, don't look at other
Yeah.
people and just work on your weaknesses, and be really like one-track minded.
Stay true to yourself, stay true, and stay determined.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe just one final question for this particular segment, guys. Where do you see your academy years from now in Indonesia? Your hope and expectations, and for you, Keisha, what do you hope to achieve personally? Let's be a visionary here. Years from now, and your hope for ballet in our country.
I hope to train more students like Keisha, who aspire to become professional dancers. I hope I can, you know, guide them, you know, so they can reach their dreams. Actually, I've, you know, had several students already abroad training or dancing professionally, and I wish to continue doing that in the future. Yeah.
What's that, Keisha? What are your dreams?
I really want to go to Philippines like Miss Mian,
Following your
Philippines.
footsteps.
like one of my friends do.
So ballet is big in the Philippines.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Yes.
They're heavily so influenced by the U.S. culture too. So we
Yeah,
believe that.
Yeah.
They have 3 professional companies
Yeah.
there, so
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
And you gotta say, some of the most beautiful people are right there in the Philippines.
Yeah.
They're kind-hearted and just gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah, they love
people.
performing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Singing,
oh my
dancing,
goodness.
it's big there. Yeah.
Anyway, talk about performing. We cannot wait to see you perform. We've set out just another landscape of our studio for you to perform later on. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break, Audrey.
Yes, we shall. Stay tuned on Starting Point after a short break.